Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Arsenal Way podcast with me, Samrid and Ashwin. We're a brand new Arsenal channel based out of India. We're two passionate gooners. We're pretty much present on all social media channels on Twitter at the Arsenal Way. We have a Facebook page, the Arsenal Way, and of course YouTube, which is where we upload most of our videos. Please subscribe, click the bell icon to be notified whenever we put out a new video. And yeah, follow us for more Arsenal content. Uh, Moving on with the disaster class that was the North London derby. As you can tell, neither Ashwin or I are too enthused by what we saw. Ashwin, before I get your thoughts on the main talking points, you and I both were pretty positive going into the game, especially after the Leicester game, and we thought that it was because we were down to 10 men is why we sort of conceded the goal in the 87th minute. And we actually thought we'd win because this was a Spurs team that has been struggling, didn't manage a shot on target against Bournemouth. But I think we forgot to I think include the biggest factor for Tottenham, which is Jose, who just somehow, no matter what team he puts out, always ends up getting a result against us. Do you think there was a feeling of complacency at all with the team, or do you think they were up for it? I don't think they were up for it. I think just the first 10 minutes pretty much um, validated that with the misplaced passes. Martinez uncharacteristically loose on the ball. And the defense was just all over the place. I can't think of anyone, maybe also Lacazette because he scored that absolute worldy, and I think maybe Bellerin because he had probably the best game that he's had since the lockdown. But outside of that, I can't think of anyone who is even remotely worth talking about. Tierney just because he puts in the effort, but I didn't think it was a very good game.
I don't think there was a lack of complacency. It was more like deja vu for me again. In terms of we've been here so many times before, where we faced a Jose Mourinho team, where on paper ideally we should be beating them, or on form we should be beating his team, but somehow he manages to not only grind a result, but somehow manage to work our system out and always come out on top. Uh, Wenger had a horrific record under him. I think we played some 10 or 11 games, and I don't think Wenger had beaten him once in that time. I think towards the end we beat him once, but we had a terrible record under Mourinho, and we've seen this before, where he prides on Arsenal making mistakes and giving him the game, and that's exactly what happened. Um, how only Arsenal can go from in a space of 2 minutes from making you so ecstatically happy to being sad in the space of 2 minutes. Uh, what a goal from Lacazette! I mean, he's not scored for what is it, 6 months, 7 months away. Then he got his first one at Wolves, and then suddenly getting one at Tottenham. And it was a wonder goal. You're right. We started very nervously. I don't know why we started nervously. The fans weren't even in the fans even weren't there. Like I can understand if like the Tottenham fans were there and they were getting at the odd people, and then because it's a derby atmosphere, all of them were feeling nervous. But just the way that we started off, the first 10-15 minutes looked like we were really nervous. It looked like it was completely opposite from the way that we started against Leicester. Against Leicester, we started on the front foot, but here we looked shaky. I remember Lucas had a shot within the first 20 seconds, and I don't know. But I thought that Lacazette goal settled some nerves for us. We looked a little better, but then that Kolasinac back pass, I can't even blame Luis for that because it's not his fault. Because if you actually freeze the frame just before the pass happened, Luis is turned towards his left and he's looking for the ball on his left, and Kolasinac plays the ball on his right. And it's hard for you when your body's already shaped one way to turn the other way, especially when you're old, when you don't have that recovery pace. It becomes an issue. So it's not much that you can do. You can't blame Luis a lot for that, but it's almost like Kolasinac had a brain fade over there. I just
I
don't
mean,
know.
you
Like,
would expect you would expect a professional footballer to have some use of his weaker foot to lay off a 5 yard pass. I mean,
it's basic mistakes, like, and that's the thing, like our back three that we're playing with, which is Luis, Mustafi, and Kolasinac, and however much they've improved under Arteta, you always know that they're going to let you down because there's a mistake in them.
yeah,
Like even towards the end, Mustafi lost his composure,
he
and he
was diving around. Yeah,
yeah, there was a period of 10 minutes where it went back to old Mustafi again, and we looked very like unsecured and things like that. So I don't know. Like, I feel bad for Arteta because, to be honest, I felt we had a great second half. I know Jose wanted to just sit back and hit us on the break and get a set piece, and that worked for him. But towards the second half, we dominated the game. I think there was a stat which said we had 87% of the ball or 85% of the ball. And I know possession has nothing to do with what the final score reads, but we nullified them in a brilliant way. It's just that the two chances that fell to Oba, or maybe three chances that fell to Oba, he couldn't take on the day. I remember the first half, there was a cross that came in from Bellerin on the right, and Oba should be putting. I mean, that was bread and butter for him to score. The second one, okay, he hit the post, should have really scored there. There was a chance. And the third one, he did really well to hit the ball on the half volley and get it on target. But I felt he had enough time to control the ball and take a shot instead of going at it straight away. So, uh, see, I would still try to get some positives out of this, even though it's really hard after the sort of performance that we put in against Tottenham. But ominous signs, if we can back Arteta and if we can give him the sort of players that he wants and get rid of these absolute good for nothing defenders, then maybe we can build from there. But apart from that, I don't know. I thought Ceballos had a really good game. I thought Xhaka wasn't as good as he was. It went back to Xhaka being like, there were some passes that were so strange. Like the players like 5 yards away from you, and all you have to do play is a simple pass, and he couldn't play that sometimes. But Ceballos had a good game. I felt Ceballos was coming into it himself. I felt Lacazette had a good game as well. He was dropping deep, was building up play really well. But apart from that, not much to write about. It's like one of those Jose masterclasses where he sits back, waits, and just waits on your mistakes, and that's what he's been doing for us for the past 10 years.
so interesting story. So last night after the result, Orbinho tweeted out a stat saying that this is the 15th game under Arteta that we have
See,
lost,
15 points,
gone behind. 15 points, 15th game
15 points,
um,
15 points.
that we've gone behind
Yeah,
after leading first.
yeah.
And the point I made immediately after that was that Arteta has a lot of work ahead of him. And I tweeted this. I sent this point out to an Arsenal group, and I was bombarded with just how I'm not backing Arteta, and the players need to be backed. And I'm sitting there thinking that there is. I mean, I can count at least a good 5 to 7 players who can very easily be replaced with better quality, or with people who are just have a sense of better positional play around them, who have better ball awareness around them, who are better technically. I mean, right now, if we talk about it, there's Kolasinac, there's Mustafi, there's Luis, there's Torreira to a certain extent, there's Bellerin, who I think can be replaced. There's Lacazette, who I think can be replaced as well to a certain extent. Um, Xhaka can also be replaced if there is a need. Not to say that these players haven't done well under Arteta, but you will have these instances, as you very rightly said, that the likes of a Kolasinac, Luis, Mustafi have it in their locker to have a brain fade in big games. Mustafi has, yes, improved. Do we need to talk about offering him a contract? Is Arteta really going to give him a contract? I don't think we should. I think we should get rid, because he had that moment yesterday. Kolasinac has been off form for a while now. It was a mistake. He had a mistake in him over the last 3 4 games. If you go and look at those games, he's misplaced passes. He's lost the ball in midfield. He's not aware of what's happening around him. And we're paying 100 grand a week to a player like him. Um, so I'm not really sure what next needs to happen. Um, Also with Man City now being uh, you know um, absolved of all their so-called crimes, they will
10
now
million.
get Champions League.
10 million is the fine they give
10,
Man
10
City.
million, yeah, 10 million euros is what they're going to pay, and that's something that
That's
they'll
pocket
cough up
change for
very
him.
very easily. Yeah. So now I think positions 6 and 7 is what we need. I think we need to finish seventh to qualify. I think, or get into the qualifiers for the Europa League. And we have Sheffield, who I think 5 points ahead.
4 points ahead.
Um, 4 points ahead with 3 games in hand. And we have Liverpool, Villa, and Watford. Um, the only way if this happens is if we win all three and Sheffield drop points across. I don't see it happening. And I genuinely feel that I think we're going to struggle to sign anyone, because people have been quoting Arteta statements. We've got you. He's got three different plans that he's made a mention of earlier. That he's got three different sort of transfer strategies. Either they do a lot, they lose less, or they do nothing. Was is nothing then them not qualifying for Europe at all? Is that what they mean, that we don't sell anyone and we only rely on monies coming in?
Or we sell our best players and
Uh,
make money off them. And
or we sell our best players off of them, and you're selling best players for value, for much less than market value. So you're not even getting a full price for them.
no, but you tell me,
So
who are our best players? If we have to sell Aubameyang, so even if we get 45 million for Aubameyang last year to go 30, okay, in that with that 40 million, who can we replace? Who's going to bang in a guaranteed 20 goals for us with say wages of 100k or 250k a week? Who can we replace Aubameyang with? That's going to
I
bang in
mean,
20.
Giroud did that for 5 years. He was scoring 20 a season for us.
No, I'm talking about 20 in the Premier League.
Uh,
There's
yeah, I mean,
nobody.
I get that.
There's nobody. Yeah.
I get that. I'm not debating that. All I'm trying to say is that
So getting rid of our players doesn't make sense at all, because then you're weakening your side completely. It goes back to the same cycle that we've been doing, where we're selling our best players from Henrys to your Fabregas to your Nasris to Van Persies, to letting them go, try investing in the squad, and then buying cheaper players, and then that cycle just keeps going over and over and over again. And
yeah,
it's
no, I
basically
think we're stuck. I think we're stuck in a rut. I have no doubts about that. And I think before uh, we even come close to competing, uh, I think top four is also going to be very difficult next season. Um, I don't know. I I'm not looking forward to the Liverpool game because we're going to get slapped very easily. I think we're going to get slapped by Liverpool. I think the City game, because that's their only source of silverware this season, I think they're also going to slap us.
have you seen the form that City is in right now?
I don't know. I think they won all their games. I think
They just beat, who did they beat finally yesterday? It looked like a
it's I don't know.
walk in the garden for them, man. Like, it's that easy.
I think it was Brighton 5-0.
Brighton, yeah, yeah.
I think it was Brighton.
Okay. Anyway, so if
I
before
mean,
moving on, any
yeah.
positives for you from the Tottenham game?
I think Martinez just barring that first the initial brain fade, I think has been good. That's that save from Kane, the save from Davies to push it on to the post was good. Ceballos, yes, has been good. I think Lacazette, because he's scoring, but I think it's too late now for it to be consequential.
What did you think of Pepe coming in and Saka being dropped? Did you agree with that call?
Um, I didn't think it was a bad call. I thought Pepe was. I remember making a point as well that the moment Bellerin made those overlap runs, it just opened up. Pepe gave him a little bit more space to do his thing, and he looked reasonably threatening toward as the first half wore on.
Mm.
Saka didn't couldn't really do much yesterday after he came on. I think Jose had maybe mm, had a game plan around stifling Saka, so Saka couldn't really do much. Um, I don't know. Maybe I understand maybe why he didn't start because it was the occasion. It was his first Northampton derby. Maybe he didn't want to expose him to that much pressure. So I get that, but I think I don't know. It's difficult to comprehend with Jose on the other side because we've played him when we had a Man United team that was at its weakest. We haven't been able to beat them.
Hmm.
Uh, Now it's Spurs. We haven't been able to beat them. So I'm not sure what it is anymore.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
I'd rather we just focus on, like, even like, I know when they say that you need, like, to challenge for the league, you need to be beating like your top, that mini table that is there. I think if we can just focus on finishing top four for next season, and beating the other 15 teams, 15 teams, I'm sorry, I meant beating the other 11 teams, or 13, 15, I don't know, my maths is a little off, but beating the other so-called lesser sides and then just somehow managing to scrape a win at home against some of the top ones, I think that should be the focus. But competing is way, way down the line.
I think I asked you this question a couple of pods ago, saying that with 5 games to go, with a total of 15 points that we have, how many points are we going to get? And I think you said about 9, and I said about 8. We've got about how many? We got 7 points so far. We beat Wolves. We beat
7.
Norwich. So that's
So it
six.
was it was Norwich Wolves, we beat 6, Leicester 7.
7.
We predicted a win against Spurs,
No,
and
I
we
think.
predicted a loss
Oh,
against.
I think we're still on course to no to get that if we beat Liverpool. I think Liverpool was the last final game, right? So the 5 games that we're looking at,
Yeah.
we're looking at Liverpool,
So there's
Leicester.
Norwich. Yeah, go on.
There was Liverpool, Leicester, Norwich, Wolves, and what was the other team? Did we play? Was it?
Southampton.
Oh, so then we've done well. We've got the 9 points that we've asked for.
No, not really. We've
We
got
beat Southampton. We beat Wolves. We
we
beat.
beat Southampton. We would beat Norwich 9 and 110. So yeah, we've gone ahead. Yeah,
We've gone ahead. It's
we
not
didn't
bad.
think I we I yeah we didn't think we'd beat Liverpool.
Yeah, even though we're going to bring that up in the next segment, but I think it's going to be difficult. The only thing that
Yeah.
anyway, we can bring that up in the next segment. Just before I move on to that segment, what did you think of Arteta's lineups and what was substitutions for you? Because we criticized him over the past. How do you think he went around in this game?
I think the lineup was fine. He could have maybe made a halftime change of getting rid of Kolasinac, and maybe bringing on Socrates, or maybe moving to a back four and beefing up the midfield a little bit, because they were tiring, and someone like a Torreira could have given us that added impetus in the second half. Um, there's no point making a sub with in the 80th minute or 88th minute window. I think he should have made subs at halftime and changed things. Uh, if when they were very visibly struggling from the 60th minute onwards, they looked tired, and we should have gone for the kill, but we didn't. I guess that would be my only complaint. But I mean, I guess he'll learn. He seems like someone who is makes changes, learns with mistakes. So hopefully that's something we get rectify soon.
So, blame on Arteta for the loss or blame on the players?
No, players. I don't think Arteta. You can't really do much if players have brain fade. I don't think Arteta was wrong. I think we stifled Kane very well yesterday. I think there were periods where we were able to control the midfield. I mean, you can't account for defensive mishaps. Like you said, Mustafi, who's looked improved. Um, you saw in a span of 15 minutes how he's gone from being thinking about why, understanding why he's being in lined up for a new contract, to why nobody wants him around the club. Uh, so yeah, I mean, that's where it is.
That's fair, I guess. It's just disappointing that we've not only lost to a really bad Tottenham side, but we've lost to a Jose Mourinho side that we've seen happen to us over and over again. And when we think that we're going to improve, it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Um, Moving on, I think we've already spoken about this. We have a last big game of sorts against the current champions. I mean, the new champions of the Premier League. Liverpool, obviously, their form after them becoming champions has not been the best. They obviously won 2 games and drawn one, I think, or drawn two. They recently had a draw on the weekend. I think they drew against Aston Villa on the weekend. Or was it a 1-1 draw? Yeah, I think.
I'm not even following
Yeah. So
what Liverpool are doing.
but knowing that we have to, I mean, Liverpool coming to the Emirates, it's always going to be a hard game because just the way we set up and the way they set up, everybody comes to the Emirates and is up for it. So we're really not expecting much from this game. But if if there's ever a good time to play Liverpool, I think this is the time now because I think they don't really care anymore. Their players are gone on holiday already because all they're looking at is lifting that trophy right now and celebrate because they know it's in the bag. They don't even have to give their 100%. Um, Maybe we can catch them off guard. I'm saying maybe, but yeah, seems like a very tough game. So, what do you think is going to happen Wednesday night? How are we going to line up and predictions for the game?
Oh, I like I said, I have zero hope for this game. I think we should try and be under damage control right from the first whistle, into how we can concede less or not concede at all. I think the best I can hope for this game is a draw. Not even expecting that. Henderson is out, so I think they have, like, there is some um, maybe that's the silver lining. I don't know, but you have the likes of Fabinho and you have the likes of, um, I forget that other player that they have who's really super,
Naby Keita.
um, Navigator as well. So I think they will fill that gap. Milner as well, who's a big club utility man, will probably play in that holding position. But I'm not expecting much. I think we will line up. I think the players, if they're really bothered, they will turn up. Otherwise, I'm not even thinking about what happens against Liverpool. I'm not expecting anything positive to come out of this game. As far as us lining up goes, I think it'll probably be Saka in place of Pepe. Oba and Lacazette will start. Lacazette is because he's been on form, and also because Eddie's still out. I don't think Kolasinac will play. I think Socrates comes back in, and I have a feeling that he might just play holding uh, instead of Mustafi.
Is that because of him wanting to go rest for the Man City game, or is it because
It's possible. It's possible because I think the Man City game is our most likely um, foray into Europa. So if we just get into the final, I think that will pretty much guarantee us getting into Europa. But then you have obstacle in the size of Man City there. So
I don't think it's an obstacle; it's a massive hurdle, bro. uh, uh, so I get that. What do your score? What do you think the score is going to be? You think we're going to get a goal?
do I think what?
We're going to get a goal.
Do I think we'll get a goal? Look, they're there for the taking. I mean, if the stars align and Liverpool just decide that they want to have a training game, we could maybe catch them by surprise, nick a goal on the counter. That's not to say Arteta will not set us up to in any way get a point or try and win. I don't expect us to win on Wednesday. I think we if we come out by conceding less than 3 goals, I think we should be okay. I think that should be a positive.
But give me a score line.
Give you a scoreline. Liverpool to win by 2.
Yeah. All right.
And
Uh,
this is me being optimistic. I'm not trying to bring us down. I just don't think we have it. I think the Tottenham loss will have deflated the team. And to face Liverpool immediately after that is not going to be easy.
I think he'll bring in the changes a little bit. There are chances that he might bring in either Holding or Socrates, and maybe even Cedric Suarez in the game. Might give Tierney a rest. Might play Saka there. Might give Ceballos or even Granit Xhaka a rest so that he can bring in Torreira, freshen up a few things. Maybe play Joe Willock or somebody because when Willock came on, he looked good. Even though he had about 8 minutes to play, he looked good against Tottenham. So maybe he plays Joe Willock there. I don't know if he's going to rest Oba because it's a big game against Liverpool, but he knows City is going to be an even bigger game. But um, I think more or less I'm agreed with the way that he's going to line up, and I don't have a good feeling about the game either. I think we'll score, but I think we'll lose about 3-1 to Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, just before I go and just before we go for this podcast, top six, top seven, where do you see Arsenal finishing the season with 3 games to go?
Uh, so I was okay. Now let's if I would repeat the exercise that we did, 9 point. We need, if we have a chance of finishing top six, or even top seven, or not even position. If we have a chance of qualifying for Europe, we need 9 out of 9.
Okay, let me just read this to
I
you. United
Yeah.
played 34, 58 points. If they win tonight, United can go potentially third. So that means Chelsea and Leicester. Chelsea becomes fourth, Leicester becomes fifth. Wolves will be on 35 games with 55 points. Sheffield will be seventh with 54 points. Tottenham eighth with 52 points, and Arsenal ninth with 50 points. So for us to catch sixth placed Wolves, they're basically 5 points ahead of us. For us to catch Sheffield, we have 4 points, and Tottenham is 2 points. With considering we're not going to pick up points against Liverpool, we have 2 games to go. So that gap to Wolves becomes potentially 8 points, and 8 points. Obviously, we have 6 points to play for, so we're not catching sixth place Wolves, are we?
No, I don't think we will. I don't. In fact, I don't think we will. I think we'll get 4 out of these 9 points. I think we'll lose to Liverpool. I think we'll beat Villa, and I think we will draw against Watford. Even if, like, again, for us the imperative is 9. I don't think the moment we lose even one of those games, I think we're done. I don't think we'd finish even 7, because as much as we hate to talk about the Europa League, there is still some sort of financial incentive that comes in that could benefit us. Um, that probably will change the kind of people we're looking at bringing into the summer, if we're looking at bringing anyone in the summer, that is. And yeah, I would say prepare yourself for a season of no European football, which may work to our advantage. It worked to Chelsea advantage, but then of
Yeah.
course Chelsea had have a sugar daddy who's financing their movements. So
I mean, you and me spoken about this in the previous pods where we said it's not necessarily a bad thing for us to be out of Europe for one season. Liverpool did it, Chelsea done it. There were talks of Kroenke actually buying some shares recently to help provide for the loss of income coming in. Do you think they're going to dip into their pockets again this summer and help the manager out?
no, I don't think so. And just to correct you, I don't think it was shares. It was they've refinanced a
Sure.
loan, so they're basically our interest payments for the coming years will be lesser.
Mm.
But from what I can understand with my limited knowledge of how football finances work, the Swiss Ramble has done a really good thread on this entire piece, and it doesn't seem like we're going to be making. There's not going to be any incremental transfer money or war chest as such that's going to be coming in. I think whatever we will expect will be from player sales, and that's pretty much about it. So
So
for us to expect major signings, or like you I think the entire spine needs to be changed, outside of maybe the goalkeepers and maybe strikers. Because right now I just think the only position we're sorted in is the goalkeeper, but every other position along this down the spine needs to be changed.
I know we can do this in
And I
another.
don't think
Sorry, I'm just saying. I know we can do this in another podcast, but I just wanted to know if we had to sell, say, our top most 5 most valuable players. Who do you think those top 5 players are? That will get us some sort of that will generate some sort of revenue for us.
um, Oba for sure, Xhaka, Torreira,
How
and
much
the
do you think?
entire defense.
How much do you think Xhaka would get for us? I don't think Xhaka would get us more than 20 million.
Yeah, 20-25 million. So I would say about 40-45 for Torreira and Xhaka combined, another 30 for Oba, that's maybe another 70-75, and the entire defense, which would be Kolasinac, Mustafi, Holding, these three, and maybe if we can throw Bellerin in there as well, this should cover about 50 million. So we will have around 100 million pounds to spend
I know,
um,
I know this is
from these players.
completely whack, but seeing the form that Martinez is in, do you think we can cash in on Leno and use that? Because we now have two top keepers, and we know Leno is probably worth more than what Martinez is worth. And I'm pretty sure Bayern will come sniffing, knowing that Neuer's become old and Leno being German, they'd want somebody.
No, they probably will. They probably will. I don't know. I don't know if anyone will sign him with an injury. I think if he goes next year. Doesn't go this year. Um, because we will have Martinez starting the next season. I don't think Leno starts immediately. Having said that, if Martinez cements his place and Leno agitates for a move and he starts, you start hearing those regular transfer stories about how he wants to play and etc. Then I think we'll cash him, but not this season. But I'm looking at us just generating money from player sales this season.
What happens? We could probably
Yeah.
generate about 30-35 million from Lacazette as well.
About he signed him for what, 50, 55? I don't know,
47, 48
50
million.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you get around 25, 30 for him, I guess that should be okay.
But then we keep talking about that, selling all our best players, and then that whole cycle repeats itself till we reach a particular stage. And
I mean, I don't think Lacazette's been our best player. I think his goal to game ratio has been
very poor.
marginally better than Giroud. So there's not been much improvement there. Yes, he does score in big games, but there are games when he should score and he doesn't, and that costs us points. Yeah, I mean, it's depressing that we were on a high last week this time, and now we're talking about selling our best players. Because I mean, we can end the season right now, and neither of us would blink an eye. So because we don't see, and this is only because if we don't, I don't see us beating Liverpool and then even making a run for Europa. That's not gonna happen. So any other club, it was like, and also that, and we would be playing Villa, who will probably be go down to the last day because they're also fighting for relegation. So they're not gonna just stand there and say, you know what, just come and just walk the ball into the net. So
that's fair. And
the Liverpool and Villa game are going to be tough.
And seeing what Bournemouth did yesterday to Leicester, fighting for relegation, they beat Leicester 4-1.
There you go. I mean, it's not. Watford have never liked us. You'll have Troy Deeney coming in, and that's going to be a physical game as well. So these are not easy games.
Yeah.
I'm expecting us to beat Villa, and that's assuming Villa just buckle under pressure. 4 points, I think, and is what I think we get from the 9.
It's not good
And
enough.
they're going to be very. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not.
On that sad note, guys, that was the podcast. Thanks for joining in and thanks for tuning in. Like Sabrin mentioned at the start of the show, please subscribe to our channels. We're on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook at The Arsenal Away. So please subscribe there and give us a follow, give us a like, so that it goes on to more people's timelines and more people can discover us. And hopefully we come back with maybe a positive review or a smiley faces back against Liverpool. We're not expecting much, but even a draw there works well for us. Yeah, that's the pod. Thanks, Amrut.
Thanks, Ashwin. Thank you, guys.